Now, the word legend is used so loosely these days, but with us is a real Southend United club legend, none other than Ricky Otto, or we should say Pastor Ricky Otto now. We'll come on to that. But Ricky, welcome.
Good to have you here. Thank you for inviting me. I feel blessed
Pleasure.
and privileged to be on this platform with you guys. I don't know how it's going to go, but I believe we're just going to have a good time, man, and just what will happen and happens and what will be will be.
Well, it's going to be an interesting journey, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, we've been debating and selecting our best 11 over a period of about 35 years of myself and Charlie supporting Southend, and you've made it onto the wing for us in a very decent team, I have to tell you. But we've interviewed some players so far, can't give away too much, but we're really excited about this one. We've been excited about this one for a while because I think it's going to be a very different story to most of the others. Because you've just had such an interesting journey. Now, before you started playing, obviously you've really documented it that you spent several spells in prison. That must have been really testing time for you.
You know what is, if I'm honest, it would be easy for me to say it was testing times. But the truth of the matter is, I was making poor decisions in my life. And at the end of the day, I was never one to kind of water down my actions. You know, I knew what I was doing. Yes, it was wrong, but that was just the life I was in. That's what I believed in. All my peers was doing it. And from that perspective, you know what I mean, I got as good as I deserved. Do you know what I mean? You know how it goes. If you're committing crime, eventually you're going to come into contact with the police, and eventually we grew up with this saying, "Who don't hear must feel." And so I had all the encouragement not to do what I was doing because, you know, I was playing football from the age of 6, 7. You know, so my climb into football from when I got released from prison wasn't just miraculously appeared. You know, I'd played for my district. I'd played for London. You know, I was at Tottenham Schoolboys at 10. I was at West Ham with the likes of Paul Ince at 13. I was at Charlton. So my pedigree is good. Do you know what I mean? But, you know, when you get to like the age of 13, you just start making poor decisions. So, yeah, I would like to say that, you know, it was challenging, but it wasn't. I got what I deserved. You know, you keep making poor choices, you will get banged up. And that's the crux of it.
Now, Ricky, I want to talk about mental health because, you know, mental health awareness is so huge in football now, as it is actually in many industries. And, you know, for many people that experience prison, that can be the journey of a very difficult mental health going forward. And people can get stuck in that and think that this is the end. But actually, your story tells you that it's not the end. If you get the right help, the right guidance, then actually life don't have to end there.
Absolutely. And you know what, I was having this conversation a couple of months ago because obviously the work that I do working with young prolific offenders, we was having this conversation, and I've got to remind myself that when we look at mental health, I have to claw it back from it being a generational perspective that we have, because when I was growing up, we weren't allowed to say we've got mental health issues. Do you know what I mean? Society back then was tough. Do you know what I mean? You get up, you graft, you go to work. You know, our mums and dads didn't have the capacity to say, "Oh, you know what, I'm just not feeling it today." You know what I mean? Because if they didn't work, there's no food on the table.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a generation and a society where these conversations weren't even had.
Yeah,
true. Do you know what I mean? And if we're honest, you know, anyone saying that mentally I'm just not feeling it, you get laughed at the factory. So I've had to reframe and relearn what mental health really is, because my first point of contact or point of departure with mental health is that you're walking around doodally. You don't know whether it's Sunday or Wednesday. And I've had to learn that actually mental health is a lot more acute than that. Do you know what I mean? And so I've had to learn. And so, when you look at mental health now from a prison perspective, it's rife, because even now, 2025, there's so much that's not being done to help, especially the young youths who are still growing up, but yet they've dealt with so much trauma. I mean, for the last 3 years, I've been working more with children in care. So any youth from the age of 13, 14 up to 18, then from 18 you go to adult prison. And that's been an eye opener for me because most of the youths I'm working with, they're doing life sentences. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Doing big sentences, and oftentimes we see them as the number, the crime, the sentence. But actually, we forget that these are children that have
Yeah.
seen their friends get shot or got stabbed. They've been stabbed or stabbed someone, and they're coming from backgrounds where there's been abuse by their mums or there's addiction. It's horrendous. And so I think now, understanding mental health and understanding the trauma that a lot of these youths are going through, I wish I could say that the prisons are doing more, but actually they're not. There's so much more that needs to be done that they're not doing.
Charlie, do you want to chip in?
Yeah, so I don't know if you know Ricky or not. So I am a prison officer.
Okay,
so
cool.
I know full well in the current.
When you work, are you not allowed to say?
I know, I don't mind saying. I work in Pentonville, but I cover quite a few of the London jails. So I know exactly as everything you've touched on. I see it day to day. I know full well sort of the experiences you've gone through, and what you talk about there. What I wanted to know, obviously, I see, the lads that are inside, you get a lot of young, in my time now, there's a lot, I think you sort of see the prison dynamic now. I speak to a lot of older officers and you can see the change in the type of offenders they have now. There's a lot more youngsters. We have a lot of gang problems and things like that, particularly sort of in the London jails. And I just want to sort of know, like, when they spend a lot of time behind doors, it gives you a lot of time to think about things and stuff like that. What I just wanted to ask you was, like, did you find that when you was inside that you had time to reflect on your sort of decisions, and also how did you find that you was able to sort of overcome that, and did you have anything to sort of keep yourself sort of active and things like that? Because I find that a lot of it is a routine. A lot of people, they like a routine, whether that's going to education, sports, gym, activities, things like that.
Yeah, no, great question. Again, I think my prison experience, again, is completely different than the generation of youth that I'm working with today. Because you have to remember, when I was in prison in the 80s, there weren't no such thing as social media. There weren't no mobile phones. There weren't all of that. Plus, we grew up in a different era. We didn't have this thing called post-Cold Wars. There weren't really gangs as such. I just knew people from certain estates. But, I grew up in Hackney, and I can go to 6, 7 different estates in one day. See some of the friends that I knew, because we all knew each other, even if we went to different schools. We all knew each other. And, there weren't this thing like, well, because I'm caught on Kingsmead Estate, someone's going to run me out of Kingsmead, because I can be in Kingsmead, Holly Street, Pembury, Nightingale, all in one day, and everything was calm. So I think that dynamic in terms of the friends that you've grown up with was different, because I was friends with so many people, so many groups. And I don't even like to use the word gangs, because I think society has kind of used that term to kind of almost make this gang culture seem like it's a lot more organized and sophisticated.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why they've done that is because if you get sentenced, it's almost like you can get a couple of more years added, because they see it as organized crime, when really it's just a bunch of guys that's grown up on the same estate, go to the same youth centre, and more friends. However, again, because prison was different, there was still this kind of a respect. I grew up where you respect your elders, and certain elders can still come to you and talk to you. So for me, when I was in prison, it was very clear that my talent for football was so rife. That rife, I was playing for prison officers. So there were certain prisons I was going to, and I was getting let out on Saturday afternoons with the officers to play football in the town centre and come back. So
I bet you were picked first. That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. When
Want to be on his team.
When I think about it now, and I think of the risk that the officers were taking, because you have to remember, I'm talking places like when I was 17 in Dover. When I was in Dover, I'm talking when Feltham first opened in 1987. We were the first cohorts that went there. Rochester, and invariably, I was the only black player. So all the officers were white. I'm black, and when I look back, I think they took a massive risk.
Yeah.
Not because I would have absconded, but because you're actually letting out someone that's serving a sentence to play football.
Yeah, yeah,
So the dynamics in prison was different then. Even though you was in there, you had certain people in there. They would encourage you. People sit down and talk more. There was more kind of connection because we didn't have the things like social media. So I
Yeah.
find that
Yeah,
the
true.
dynamics now is so much
yeah.
different because
Yeah.
if I'm honest, I find that this generation they don't have that kind of a motivation or aspiration. You will meet pockets of individuals, but very rarely they weren't motivated. But when I was going to prison, everyone was going to the gym. We was doing whatever we
Yeah.
could. We was on the go because, again, we didn't have the luxury of laptop and again, you have to remember, most of these guys have got televisions. When I think about if I had a television in my prison cell and I can make phone calls to my family, I might not want to leave. Because for me back then, that would have been a luxury.
Yeah.
Remember,
Yeah, of course,
I
yeah.
was in prison at the time where there weren't no phone calls where I can phone home once a week. There was none of that. Whereas now, what I'm
Interesting.
seeing now with prisoners, they have all of the luxury. You can phone home. Your private spends are a lot more. You got television, so you can watch telly. If you don't want to come out of your cell, you don't have to come out of your cell and work. But when I was going to prison, you come out of your cell and you're not getting paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah,
dynamics is different. So I feel like when I was in prison, there was more human connection.
Yeah.
It felt
Yeah.
like that because when I'm looking at and when I say working in the prison, there's two. I hold keys as well, Charlie. So there's two prisons up
Okay,
there that
okay.
I go into. So I go right on
Cool,
the wing,
cool.
and sometimes I go on the wing just to sit down. When I
Yeah.
finish with my young people, I've seen just to reflect and to remind myself. And these are the kind of reflections I have. That gosh, man, like when I was in there, it was different, and it is
Yeah.
different. But I just think there's not enough human connection. People don't know how to
I,
communicate no more.
no, and I think you're right. And I think it's really important that, someone like yourself who's lived through that to then talk to these young lads and go, actually, you know what, there is hope on the other side. There is
For sure.
opportunities. I think that's very important because, it's very easy to sort of sit in your cell and that's it. You look at the same four walls for hours on end. And to have someone
Absolutely.
that's gone through it, understands that and says, you know what, actually, I sit there and speak to lots of young lads, and there's a character in there. A lot of these lads, they just sometimes it needs that individual to make that decision.
Listen, Charlie, if
But
I'm
yeah,
honest, my desistance started when I was in Wandsworth prison. Right? When I got sentenced to 4 years, I'd been in Brixton for about 5 months. Mind you, I was a young offender. You know what I mean? But we kept getting in trouble at Feltham. Rochester they kicked us out and thought if they sent us to Brixton, we might get beat up by the bigger men.
the
But
bigger
we knew
boys.
so much
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
and it was fun while it lasted in Brixton because we was on A wing and your cell doors are open all day. But when I got sentenced, I went to Wandsworth and I went to play football as per normal. And 2 days later, these two guys come to say they want to talk to me. And one was doing 24 years for murder, the other one was doing 17 for manslaughter. And like when a man comes to your cell and you don't know them and they say they want to talk to you, you start preparing for the worst. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But they spoke and really they were just saying, listen, man, how old are you? Where you come from? And I'm like, so what's this all about? And they said, well, look, we was in a gym a couple of days ago when you was playing football and we ain't seen no one play football like that before. So I want to know what you're doing here, fam. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
football like this, that's a talent. And so they gave me a good kick up the backside, talk-wise. And they said to me, listen, if I was you, man, don't serve the time, let the time serve you.
Yeah.
And I knew straight away what they meant. Don't just sit in there and gaze at your days and then think about what you're going to do
Yeah.
on your EDR, but
Yeah,
start
yeah,
preparing
yeah.
yourself now. So
Yeah.
luckily, one of them was working in the kitchen, so they were getting me chicken, anything that they can get, just more healthy. And I
Yeah,
became a
yeah,
gym
yeah.
warden. So I was playing football 3-4 times a day with the different wings that will come to the gym.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? Because I was saying to
Yeah.
myself, I've got to do all I can do while I'm here, so that when I come out and I have a
Prepare
fight,
yourself.
I can hit the floor running. So my
Yeah.
desistance
Yeah,
really
yeah.
started in prison, and so part of the work that I'm doing now is, like you said, Charlie, don't serve the time, guys. Let the time serve you. If ever there was a time where you can access so much things to do. It's now. So I'm saying to the guys, many of these guys are intelligent. They just choosing to live this life. But a lot of them, they can do degrees. There's access to do that kind of thing. So you're right, Charlie. I'm trying to do the same thing what happened to me, because I knew I was good, but I didn't got it with no father. And sometimes you can know that you're good at something, but sometimes you need affirmation. And those two men were the first men that I call role models that took the time to say, Rick, you can do better with your life. And that was it, the light bulb moment. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Amazing.
The minute I got to start playing football, I knew while playing football that this will only make sense if I try to get myself back in that environment to try and encourage the next generation to come through. Because you're right.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that when they see me, I'm not bragging or boasting about myself, but what I am saying is that you don't have to let your future dictate you don't have to let your present dictate your future. Do something about it now.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do.
Well, we'll come back, Ricky, to your current work. But let's talk about your football times. Maybe it's why you ended up on the wing, because you were in the wing so many times.
Yeah.
But for us,
eventually I ended up on the right wing, the left wing.
You joined us in '93 from Leyton Orient, 125k, 64 appearances, 17 goals. What do you recall of your time at Southend, and what really stands out?
What really stands out? That 18 months was probably my best footballing experience of my life, and I hold on to all of that. Because remember, honestly, football's a short career anyway. It's a short career. Do you know what I mean? But I remember I got the call from Baz to come to.
Yeah, we'll come on to him.
To Southend. And I actually remember I know the game, what I played in when they made that decision, because I think I was at Orient at the time, playing in a London Cup final in the reserves, vexed because I think I was coming back from injury, but I didn't want to play the game. But we played against Barnet and we whooped them and I scored a hat-trick. And I knew it was that game where Barry and Steenie came. I don't even think they came to watch me. I think they came to watch Hunty and a few of them. But yeah, as soon as I signed, I remember coming down to Roots Hall, and Badge is legendary for signing multiple players. So actually, when I signed and I went onto the pitch, there was Gary Paul, there was Derek Payne, there was about 8-9 players. As soon as I walked out there and I saw them, the camaraderie just started from then.
Brilliant.
So there's not a bad moment, and I've thought about it many times. There's not a bad moment that I can record of my time at Southend, because honestly, it's like the minute I signed and we started the season, everything just clicked, man. Everything. We were getting into training like an hour beforehand because everyone just got on with everyone. Do you know what I mean? And it was that kind of momentum that kind of just made us, I think, play the kind of football that I don't even think you can cultivate it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's only so much a coach can do, but then the rest is down to passion, dedication, fun, friendship, connection, and we had that in a bucket loads, and I think that just showed on the pitch. So my time at Southend is, I still watch some of the goals.
Oh, we do.
We literally just talk about it.
Look at that. Well, Ricky, there was another player that's made it onto our 11. We can't give away too much, but we can tell you this because we've covered that part already. But there's a guy that's made it into our 11 called Chris Powell. What do you remember of Chris? Your time playing with Chris?
Who is he? Who's it?
He was all right.
Yeah. No. Again, when I came to Southend, I remember it was maybe about a week later. We went away. I can't remember where we went, but we went away for a week in England, just a hotel somewhere where we done some pre-season training. And I don't know, it felt like an audition. I don't know why I get that, but there was Chris Powell, Keith Jones, Andy
Keith Jones.
and a couple of others, and they were just talking, and they wanted to find out. They said, "All right, Rick, look, man, we've seen all the press and everything. What's going on, Jay? Because you just come from prison. Talk to us. Wagwan, you know what I mean? And we were just talking way into the night and explaining everything. And I don't know, but something happened there with myself and those players, but in particularly Chris, because even though I was older than them, you know, Chris had a wise, mature head on his shoulder. Do you know what I mean? And the fact that we were playing left wing, we never ever really spoke about where we should be. It just happened automatically. I just knew Chris loves to bomb on. So that gave me an extra tool in my armor, really, because where people are focused on me, I can hear Chris coming.
He just
So
going,
I would lay the ball off. And once Chris has done that 40-yard sprint, once I lay the ball off, I would just drop into left back. So we never ever really spoke about it tactically. It just worked. But
what a nightmare for their fullbacks, the opposition, with you two.
yeah, well, you know, I think it showed in our performances. It showed in our performances. But I think as a person, I'm still in contact with him now. And, you know, he lives in the Midlands. Do you know what I mean? So, but as a person, phenomenal. Always looked out for the team. In many ways, we called him Mr. Southend because he organised everything and made sure we was all right. So for me, that combination down the left, I took great pride in that. I took great pride in knowing that, listen, man, whatever team is coming down this right-hand side to them, you know, I think we had the whole package. We had pace, we had commitment, strength, and that kind of telepathic communication where if Chris went in, he'll always know that I'll drop back and so forth. So, yeah, it was phenomenal. And I'd be shocked if he wasn't in that 11.
So you two had some pretty interesting goal celebrations. So come on, you're an honest man. Who's the choreographer of the two?
Well, it always just happens there and then. It's never choreographed, honestly.
You sure?
And I don't even know where I get it from. I don't know why I done it.
Yeah, you had some moves, you two.
But you know, normally everyone does the fist pump, but I decided to do something different. But I decided to do it while going down, and I don't know why I went down because there was nothing in it. It weren't no dance move. I just decided to do it down, and invariably, Chris always just followed suit.
Yeah.
And that's how it happened. It wasn't choreographed. It wasn't even spoken about because, you know, 9 times out of 10, when you score a goal, that feeling of scoring a goal, you feel like you can jump 20 feet high anyway.
Yeah.
You're just expressing yourself, isn't it? And I feel like, in many ways, that fist pump, when I look back at it now, is probably just an indication. Listen, man, we're just a bunch of guys from the streets, man. Ultimately, we're just like the fans. Honestly, I know that we're playing in a privileged position, but don't be fooled. We're just like the fans. There were times when we remember dreaming, if only we could play football. Yeah. And for us, it happened. But we're still from the street. We still identify with the street. We still identify with the working class. And for me, those celebrations, I think that's what I just try to reflect. That, like, do you know what I mean? There's no Gucci around here, man. We're just like.
Just remembering your roots, where you come from, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think all of us, black, white, in that team, we all recognise that we're just coming from nothing. Even Baz, coming from nothing. So for us, it was a joy to play those big teams. Like, I remember we battered Derby and a £10 million team.
We beat some big sides.
Made them look average. And it was almost like that's the kind of a Robin Hood scenario, isn't it, man? Just go into the rich and just beat them up, innit? And that's what we used to do, dominate the games. You hear the music playing in the changing rooms. We weren't arrogant, and I wouldn't even say we were cocky, but our confidence was so much that sometimes we won the game while we was in the changing room. We just knew. We could see their youth team players looking at us and just thinking, I don't know what's walked into the stadium because we just owned it, man. That gets results.
Amazing. I actually recall, I don't know if it was just for 1 or 2 games, but we were, at one point, we were top of the first division, or what is the championship now. And, you know, sadly then, Birmingham came and took Barry Fry away from us, totally broke our hearts. And then in turn, eventually he took you away as well to Birmingham. totally ripped our hearts out. But I think we got about 800k for you, so we got some decent profit. But probably not the worst move for you because you're now settled in Birmingham, obviously.
Yeah, but the truth of the matter is, and again, I haven't really even done a major interviews to document this. For starters, yeah, Baz going, that was a shock to all of us as players.
Yeah.
Because literally, I remember, I think we was just called, was it after training? Something like that. After training, we were just called into the changing rooms and yeah, I think there was a little bit, we heard a little bit of that Birmingham might be interested, but we didn't think nothing of it because we're thinking, look, we're sitting top of the first division. And in my opinion, if we'd have stayed together, we'd have got promoted.
Yeah, it was a great team.
Honestly,
you hear that a lot, don't you? Yeah.
We weren't looking for the players. We were looking, we want to win this thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we were just as shocked when Barry left, because obviously when he left, all what momentum we had, went. You know, Peter Taylor didn't stand a chance, and that's no disrespect to him, but he didn't stand a chance because when he came in, it became technical and the training was it didn't work. However, with regards to myself, I didn't want to leave Southend, and I made that very clear that when Peter Taylor come in, right? Because remember, Vic Jobson was still the chairman.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And at the time, I think I'd done okay for myself. I think I proved that, you know what I mean, I deserved to be in the team. I was making an impact. If I weren't scoring, I was setting up goals. My valuation went up. And so at the time, my girlfriend was pregnant and I wanted to buy a house.
Yeah.
So I went to Vic Jobson. I went to Peter Taylor to say, listen, this is my situation. I want to buy a house. I weren't asking for much. Truth of the matter, between me and you, I was only on £550 at the time. I was asking for double my money. That's all. Give me enough so that I can go and put a mortgage on a house.
Yeah.
And get
look after your kid.
That was my goal. I wasn't even asking for my. And them times that we're playing against Brian Robson at Middlesbrough, Wone and all of these players that were coming down from the Premiership and on 3-4 grand a week, big wages. And I wasn't asking for big wages. I would just say, listen, man, give me £1,000.
Yeah.
Give me
give you what you felt you deserved. Yeah.
Get a house so that I can go and live.
Yeah.
And they said no.
Yeah. I don't think anyone would begrudge. Like you say, it's a short career, isn't it?
Absolutely. And you got to. And I wasn't breaking the family. Back. And so Baz heard.
Yeah.
Baz heard. And so naturally, what is Baz going to do?
Yeah.
So Birmingham came in.
Difficult times for us when you both
offered me more than what I wanted.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
So, I've been listening recently to a lot of old humorous stories from former players on Brian Clough. Some great stories out there if you listen. But Barry Fry was another one of those great characters, wasn't he?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, can you give us a standout story with Barry Fry?
Gosh, man. You know what? It's not so much that there was a standout story, but I think it's just his approach.
Yeah.
To life and to football. That's what kind of, I suppose, if you like, endeared us to him because he wasn't conventional. Definitely not for me. I didn't have the same experience as a lot of these other guys that went through apprenticeships and, you know, they'd gone through reserve teams. So they've had that element of learning the game tactically and different people come with a different approach. I only had 2.5 years of that at Leyton Orient with Frank Clark and Peter Eustace before I came to Barry Fry. When I came to Barry Fry, his approach to life is one like, you know what I mean, let's live each day as if it's our last. And that's how we live. So he will do the kind of thing where we'll come down in a hotel for dinner and he'll be the one saying, where's my dinner? Do you know what I mean? It's just like
one of the boys.
Thinking, what's the matter with you, man? You know, or have a conversation, and I don't know what happened. I don't know how we got here, but you know, I I don't even know how I done it, but it was one game and we won. And I pulled out a cigar and started smoking a cigar on the coach. And he was like, give me a puff of that. I thought, you know. So it wasn't like there was any standout things that he would do crazy.
Yeah.
But as he would say, he said, look, I bought you because I think you're a good player. Go out and play.
Yeah.
And he would still say to me, when he bought me for Southend, his whole approach to me was just like, listen, man, go and play football. Go and play football, and we're worried about the rest. So he was larger than life. He was unorthodox. Our training methods was just ridiculous because, sometimes we don't know what we're doing from one day to the next. Sometimes it's David Howe's taking it. Sometimes it's Steenie. Then oftentimes Baz will come on. But it was different. And sometimes they just knew how to kind of keep it real in a sense. Sometimes we'll come in and we'll just do five-a-side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is like Thursday, Friday. Are we not going to do anything on the team? Nah, mate, just go out there and just do what you're doing.
Just go and
you know
have
what I mean?
fun.
We're like, nah, mate, just go and do what you're doing. So for me, it was more his approach to life and to football. And you either got used to that as a player, because I've seen some players come and they haven't survived the camp.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like they need that kind of methodical, tactical structure to their game. But actually, when you're coming to Southend, there is structure.
Organised chaos.
Not so, it's mixed with that chaos and mixed with that kind of freedom that there's every chance that we can come in here and play five-a-side, but equally, we're coming and we're doing laps.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And we're thinking, what are we doing laps for? We're winning. You know what I mean? Just
Give us a day off.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Get on with it. And that was it.
That's hilarious.
So for me, Barry Fry, what I loved about him the most is and I don't know why we got labelled as problem players. Because we didn't cause no problems. But it just seemed that Barry Fry was one of only a few managers that would give these players who probably are not trusted or not considered to, you know what I mean, by other managers. Barry Fry was the one, he will give you the platform.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He will take a gamble. So he'll take a man from non-league and put you straight in a side that's in the championship. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas other
prove them
managers
wrong.
are too much are characters. And that made me realise there's a lot of managers out there, they don't like characters. They want you to be robust. When I say this, you do this. They don't like you to challenge. And I don't think there's nothing wrong in challenging, but you had a lot of managers in those days. Well, Barry Fry was the manager that he liked characters. And so I don't know where we got the problem tag, but it seemed like all of us were problems. And you're right, we were a problem to other teams on the pitch.
Yeah.
But we was not that unruly. We turned up early. We turned up for training.
Yeah.
We didn't fake anything. But Barry Fry, I think he just saw the best of us, and he wasn't frightened of personalities.
No.
And for me, I'd always be in debt to him because...
Well, he was a straight-talking guy, wasn't he? He said it how it was.
Of course he was.
Yeah.
Of course he was. Look, when I come into the game, there was a lot of managers that was frightened of me because I was black, gold teeth, dreadlocks, been in prison 5 times. Let's be perfectly honest. There's not a lot of managers that's going to take that gamble.
Yeah.
No,
Credit
you're right.
to him. I mean, what a team he put together. 80 years old now, Ricky.
80, man, yeah.
Bless him.
Yeah, still going strong.
Yeah, he is. He's tough one to crack. So listen, after football, probation officer. Again, another twist. How much satisfaction did that give you to work with people that, you'd been in a similar situation with? And obviously, for yourself, you could sympathise and empathise with them.
Oh, for sure. And like I says, when I became a professional footballer, and I started to carve out a career for myself, and what I mean by that, I wasn't a one-season wonder. I played football for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I knew straight away that, listen, the truth of the matter is, this success, what I'm experiencing now, is only going to make sense if I try to go back and help individuals from where I'm coming from. Because believe it or not, I wasn't the only talented man in prison that can play football. There's a world of talent in there. Do you know what I mean? I remember I played a game while I was in Feltham against a prison called Huntercombe.
Yeah.
And at the time in Huntercombe, they had a striker called Andy Clark, right? And we were playing football, and I lost four. We lost 4-3, but Andy Clark scored 4. I scored 3, and I remember I had about a couple of weeks left to play before my release in January 25, and he'd already been released and was playing for Barnet, scoring goals for fun in the non-league, and Man United, Arsenal, they were all looking at him. And I remember, I said, that's the brother that I played against. I mean, he was ugly. Andy Clark is ugly, man. You never see an ugly face like that. You know what I mean? My man was ugly like sin. But I remember seeing him and actually saying to myself, if my man can do it, so can I. So that just further reinforced what the guy said to me in Wandsworth. But so yeah, it made sense to me to go back into the criminal justice environment. And it was because my cousin worked for the probation. So as I had to retire through injury, my cousin was saying, Rick, you know what, you'll be good at this, man. Because what he was doing is program facilitation.
Yeah.
So you're working with offenders, whether it's acquisitive crimes or a drink impaired driving program or domestic abuse program. There's different programs you can deliver. So my cousin knew straight away I would be good at this because I've got a world of experience. So when you're looking at the thoughts, feelings and behavior and the cognitive process, all of that I can draw on. So I knew what I was looking for. And really, I joined the service to just see how I can kind of pattern something for myself, because I wasn't going to give all my pearls to the probation service. I knew at that stage, Rick, you've been in prison, you've come out, you've played football, something strange is happening with your life, but go with it, but see if you can pattern something for yourself, because ultimately I want to work for myself. I don't want to be tied to a 9 to 5. But I joined the probation to see how I can pattern something. And so I joined the probation service. I enjoyed what I was doing. It was good. Like, a lot of the staff wanted to work on my programs because where they had problems with the difficult offenders, I had no problem.
Yeah.
And then I started my own company because I realized that, well, you know, I don't need to change the rule, Rick. Just do your own type of program facilitation and work for yourself. And that's what I'd done. And then I got commissioned by the same probation service to come in and deliver my programs. And it's been like that ever since. Just doing a lot of work in prisons. And I remember saying, if I can just have prison keys, then I can have the freedom to do what I want in the institution. But that never happened until I started working for Warsaw Youth Justice 3 years ago. Because then the governor of one of the prisons, I knew them beforehand. So I just went through the process, got my keys, and just go in. So a lot of the guys from Warsaw, when they go to this particular secure estate, I'll go straight in and do whatever. And that's quite weird, but, you know, fulfilling, because, you know, the keys that used to lock you up is now the keys that I'm carrying to walk in and out. That is the moment. But yeah, for me, it was just about joining the probation with that in mind, to be able to have the freedom to work with offenders so that I can try to help them to make the right choices. To
you can identify, can't
life.
you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's all it was. It wasn't rocket science for me. And I've been doing it ever since.
So then you obviously studied theology, became a church pastor.
Yeah.
So football management was never on the cards then?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. And I didn't think of it because, like I said, when I was carving out a career in football, for me, being a football manager, football coach, there weren't no guarantees with that.
Yeah.
And if I'm honest, we're still talking about black people getting a fair crack at the whip on it sometimes in 2025. When you go back 30 years ago...
Yeah, it's even less so, I suppose.
I'm not always trying to put colour to it. Trust me, I've grown up in England, you know what I mean? I've never tried to put colour to it, but I'm just trying to be real and thinking like, you know what I mean, what's my chances here, Rick? You know what I mean? Try to stick in the game and make something of myself, or go into criminal justice with all your experience and all the football experience.
Right choice.
And be a diamond in a field where there's no competition. Well, it's no brainer for me. Go here, because if I'd have gone the football route, I'm just going to be trying to go for the same positions as hundreds of other ex-players. And would I have been fulfilled? Probably not. Because I felt there was an affinity with when I made it as a footballer, trust me when I tell you this, Hackney rejoiced. I thought they would have recoiled and thought him lucky so and so. But actually, I was embraced. And I didn't realize at the time that, like, what you're doing, Rick, one of my best friends became world champion at boxing. Do you know what I mean? And that was based on when he saw me come out of prison and play football, he started to dedicate himself to his sport. And then there were other people that was going through it now, you know, career-wise. So for me, I always had an affinity with the streets, the camaraderie with criminals, call it what you like. But I felt like those prisoners that I left in there, they were celebrating me. I knew it. I didn't get in contact with many of them, but I knew they would have seen me on television. Yeah. So for me, I had to go back to the prisons after my career to try and help in some way, shape, or form. Why? Because that's the only thing that made sense.
Yeah. Well, I guess there are similarities. There are similarities with football management. You're, you know, working with people from different cultures and backgrounds. You're probably on call 24/7. Yeah. You know, moving around a lot. So yeah.
Listen, it's good to have all that money, but everything that comes with it.
Yeah, but it's more than money, isn't it?
More than money. So for me, it was a no-brainer. I've never even thought about, I should have. No, I've never thought about it. I think sometimes when you know what your path is, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane, because you know, I've had a good life after football. Considering where I started from, I've had a great life, and I think some of the choices that I've made means I've been able to work on my terms. And for the last nearly 30 odd years, I've worked on my terms. I don't work Mondays and I don't work Fridays, and I don't have to get up first thing in the morning. I mean,
busy on Sundays.
No, sounds good to me.
But you know, and for me, that's priceless. But I felt like I had to just remember where I come from and know to myself, most people that come out of prison, very rarely do they go back to want to help. So I felt like I had a capacity here where, no, Rick, that's where my heart really is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think everything's kind of wrapping up together, not only from that perspective, from the criminal justice, but also from the pastoral. Do you know what I mean? Because even if I go into the prisons to minister, I'm coming with all that same baggage. And most of these guys, they will sit down and listen to me for hours. But my goal is to try and help them to transform their life and to let them realize that, look, yes, I came out and I played football, and football was glamorous. But if you really understood where I was coming from, I was happy to come out, work in the factory. If I get free bills from the factory, non-league at the time, in the 90s, you can pick up another £250, £300. I was happy to, like, if I'm getting £600 a month, right, just me and my girl, I'm sitting down, I'm not coming to prison again, waste of time. I was happy for that, but you get more. So I'm trying to say to these cats, like, listen, man, it may not be football, but for me, not going to prison was the success, not going back. Yeah. So whether you're working in a factory or whatever you're doing, success is making sure you never come back here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you close the door on that, then you can build from that. So for me, it's always a pleasure to work with offenders, because I do believe the two guys that spoke to me, I've never seen them again, never heard of them again, but they have left an indelible mark on me. So I know the power of words.
But you're now that guide to other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Would you say that's the best advice you've been given? Obviously, you give a lot of advice now to the other lads and, you know, people out in the community. Would you say those two lads that you met in Wano, that was like a real defining moment in your life? Like, would you say 100. That's one of the most important?
100. Because that changed the trajectory of my thinking, and it's your thinking that changes your environment.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you know, that was it. And I think again, you have to remember, I'm serving my time in adult prison. Whereas the first 4 times I was with young offenders, and when you're with people your own age, they're not encouraging you to do anything because, you know what I mean? I was game. I had a bit of a reputation. So I find a lot of youths, they want to keep you with them because it means we can just kind of bully and cause terror. Yeah. People are not encouraging you to do better for yourself. But actually, when I went to adult prison, you know, I'm serving time with people old enough to be my dad. And so when they saw that talent, now I'm maturing. And so actually, when those guys saw me and came and gave me the advice, that was a light bulb moment. That was it, for sure. And that same advice is what I'm using today, because it's powerful.
It's true.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Ricky, tell us about your church life. What's your church like in your community?
Well, at the moment, I've been on sabbatical. I've been on sabbatical for the last year because, ministry is quite brutal. You're pouring into people, and very few people are pouring into yourself.
Right.
So I've
Yeah,
been I've
yeah.
been pastoring for 7 years straight now, and I just felt I needed some time out. I needed to take a break, and at first it was just supposed to be 3 months, and 3 months turned to 6 months, and 6 months turned to 9 months, and I didn't realize I really was just going for the break. I was discipling a couple of guys and helping them to lead, so we're connected to a wider church, so they got all the support that they can get. But the difficulty I'm having now, I've kind of been headhunted or tapped up, should I say, to go and pastor or to co-pastor another church, a bigger church. So I'm actually in that moment of just looking at what to do, if it is the right time for me to leave where I've been pastoring for 7 years and to go into new pasture. So that's what I'm toiling with at the moment. But like I said, in the 7 years, I've always been spiritual. But my spirituality went as far as smoking weed and listening to Body Weight Up, and
Different kind of
Dennis Brown,
spirituality.
and then we just put the world to right, Jen. We just get spiritual, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think my journey towards becoming a born again Christian was so powerful, and so it answered a lot of questions that was happening to me from when I was in prison in the 80s and coming to the 90s and then 2000s when I gave my life to the Lord. So I think just serving in that capacity and growing has been great. Studying theology, because I was out of school at 14. So studying theology. So the journey's been good. It's been timely. And just seeing people kind of under my leadership grow, because I still use that kind of team spirit. Do you know what I mean? I'm not good on my own. You know what I mean? But together we're good. And so my ministerial kind of approach is very much like that of being in a football team. Do you know what I mean? And it's biblical. It says that we are one church, but we have different members.
You're a builder.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so my leadership style is that, and to be able to develop leaders and help them to kind of see what their God-given gifts are has been a pleasure. It's been humbling. But yeah, I needed this last year just to kind of refocus. But not ever thinking that it might be goodbye. But I'm trying to again make the right decision just for myself, because you build up strong friendships with people, but yeah, I'm still keeping my ear to the ground with what to do. But I can't lie, it's been, ministry's tough, but there's so much reward in it as well.
Yeah. I was in a gospel choir for many years. Long time ago. But
well, you
one
still
of my
got the
friends,
bagpipes, man. I bet you still got those bagpipes.
maybe. I'm not gonna show you.
It's because they give it to them. Yeah, come
Maybe
on.
off air.
Listen, he does it every Saturday.
Oh,
He does it
listen,
every Saturday.
it's in
He
you,
just
it's in
doesn't
you,
realise it.
yeah. My friend, he runs he did many years ago, a Black Pentecostal church in Tottenham. And I used to go and watch Spurs as well, sort of the kids support Spurs in Southend. So I used to stop at his church. I'll tell you a funny story. First time I went, you went there, and there was only like 2 singers at the front, but the sound was like, wow, so good. And then this is a typical Black Pentecostal church. And then 15 minutes, the bass player walks in.
Yeah, late.
Then he would pull the bass out, and then he did a bit of a heartbeat. He's like building it. Oh, this is great. This is amazing. And then another 15 minutes, a couple more singers would walk in at the front. It's like, and then, another 10 minutes, the piano would turn up.
Yeah, keyboard.
So it took an hour for them all to be there, but the sound by the end of it was like just absolutely amazing. And great days. I've got friends still in the industry with the London Community Gospel Choir, and I've toured Sweden and places like that. And
excellent.
Great days, great sounds. Listen, going back to your Southend days, you were no stranger to performing in front of many, and I remember you used to like a tackle as well. You were one of those players that when you got the ball, you got people off their seats. And did you like feel that, that energy from the fans?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you do. And I would like to think that my football was I was aggressive. What I mean by that is, and I still feel it now when I'm seeing modern day football, and you keep passing the ball back. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm always going to try to go forward, and so I try to play. And then when you're encouraged by the manager to just do what you do, and again for me, I had that freedom at Southend. I think once I earned the respect of my peers, because that's always the case with football. When you go into a new club, you have to earn the respect of your peers, and the only way you're going to earn that respect is whether you can hack it on the pitch,
Yeah.
and whether they know that you're going to be in the trenches with them. So I think knowing that I had the respect of the players, I had the freedom from the manager, but you always want it from the fans as well. And of course, you feel that energy, but it's not something that I try to manipulate myself. I feel like many of us at Southend, I think we were playing football just like the fans would have played if it was them on the pitch.
Yeah, yeah.
So I feel like that connection between players and fans was so crystallized, because I feel like, you know, if the fans had to think, well, if I was playing this game right now, this is what I would have done. I think we was actually doing that. Not just Ricky Otto, but Andy Answer.
Oh, he was a player.
Wessington,
Yeah, another great player.
Chris Powell. Do you know what I mean? We were all doing, and I feel that's what endeared us, because we were just trying to win. So we would do the tackles. We never shirked a tackle. We didn't care who we was playing, any of the big clubs. And so for me, that was always what street football was.
Yeah.
The cage football growing up on the estates in Hackney. Give me the ball. If it's 1-on-1, you know I'm going for it.
Yeah.
Even if it's 2, I'm still going to try things. Do you know what I mean? Because listen, I grew up watching Liam Brady. That was my best player for Arsenal, left foot. Do you know what I mean? And these guys, they were just like wizards. So I tried to base my game on going forward, creating chances and scoring. And you do feel the energy, because actually it is a sound when you hear people getting up. It's weird, but you do hear it, and that encourages you more.
Yeah.
But you know, it's something that just happened naturally. They say you either have it or you don't have it. And so I realized in my game, I had that kind of a connection with the fans. And I think it's because the fans understood my game. If you give me the ball, I'm going to try something. And I think with most fans, that's all they want to see from their team. They just want to see you having a go. You know, most fans can lose. But if they see you having a go and you lose, fair play. Boom, go again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's for us as players to understand what the shirt means to the fans.
Yeah.
They're not frightened to lose, but if you lose where you didn't even, the basic minimum is to run your pants off, mate. Those are the basics. That's what you know what I mean? So we were fortunate at Southend, because I think we had the balance right. We were winning games that I think even the fans were surprised at first.
Yeah.
Some games.
I mean, So I mean, your confidence must have been, just high. You must have, like you touched on earlier. You knew you was winning the game as you was putting into the car park. You was just, you wasn't fearful of anyone. And I just want to touch, cast your mind back, because I think I don't know if you remember a goal against Barnsley where you lobbed the keeper from what looked like an impossible angle, and I think that just shows the confidence that you had and stuff. Because I mean, the audacity to have a go from there. Was incredible, and it was it's just, it goes down as one of my favourite goals. It is just incredible.
And honestly, when I spoke, because you know what, there was no conversation from the players in the change rooms after about, Rick, did you mean it?
Yeah.
That wasn't even a conversation.
It's just it's kind of expected.
Instinct.
I was hitting a purple patch anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if my memory serves me correctly, was it the week before I scored 2 goals? Or was at the beginning of the 2 goals? But I was in a purple patch anyway. So I just went for it. I saw Ian Wright score a goal similar to that. And honestly, I think, what's his name? Tommy Mooney was coming in. But he was too far behind me.
Yeah,
Because the player that kicked the ball back, he kicked it wrong. It didn't go to the goalie, and it was still pretty much
that's
wide.
it.
So I went for
Yes,
it.
it was. Yeah.
Rooney weren't up. You weren't close enough. You weren't in my periphery for me to cross the ball. You weren't. And yet the goalie was off his line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not?
Fantastic.
We was
Yeah.
winning the game, 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? It's we're winning the game. Why not? I went for it.
Yeah.
And it happened.
What a
Yeah.
goal. What a goal.
Well, yeah. And thankfully you did go for it because it's one of the brilliant goal.
So Ricky,
No,
you
thank
talked
you.
about the shirt. Not long ago, you were involved in our kit launch, this one actually.
Yes, sir.
How did it feel putting that shirt on again?
Well, I'm glad that I was going to the gym for the last couple of months.
They're not as bad as they used to be, are they?
Fat bastard, you know what I mean? Yeah, I think I fit into the top quite
You were
all
rocking
right,
it.
and I don't look so podgy, you know what I mean? But you know, it was it's sometimes I can't remember what professional it was. He said, "You know what, Rick? You're never gonna really know what you've done until you retire,
Yeah.
and then you'll learn of the impact that you've had on people's lives." Do you know what I mean? Because you don't. Oftentimes, as a player, you're in that bubble, and you meet lots of fans, and you want to be respectful. You want to sign as much autographs as possible and be there. But I got what he meant, because when we was doing that promo, and the two guys that were doing it, you know, I don't even think they were born when I was playing for Southend. But, you know, because they had family members that were telling them about certain players, and it's almost like these guys grew up, and it's like in their households, you have to know the history of Southend. Do you know what I mean? And so for me, I was more reflective, because really outside of the game, I'm not in football often.
Yeah.
And I don't do a lot of interviews, not because of anything, but I do remember a player say, you know what, better to be missed than to be seen all the time. And that stuck
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah.
And football is such an amazing life. If you're not careful, you can find yourself wanting to live that amazing life and end up looking like a sad old figure. I don't, it just makes sense in my head. So for me, I don't do a lot of interviews. I don't, you know, this one was, you know, more than just an interview. But I understood the history behind it. And if I'm honest, I've never turned down an interview from Southend anyway, because I think that's just the history and the love I have for the club. But yeah, that one left me more reflective, because again, I find myself in a season where Southend, there's a lot of things that's happening historical. So like he's saying, that, you know, that launch had something, an historical thing attached to it. Then I was involved in, there's this card for the black players that have been involved. So I realized that, you know, Southend's in a historical season, and to be considered in these historical moments of the club, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's humbling. It's humbling.
Yeah.
And so for me, as much as I love doing it and the whole rationale behind it, you know, you just find yourself just going back to, I'm glad they're fond memories as well. I'm glad they're fond memories of Southend. I just wish I could have come down to Southend and done it at the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're still welcome back anytime.
Yeah. No, because it just so happened, because I know Chris Powell went down to the ground.
Yeah.
And I tried to do it because my younger brother lives in Southend.
Right.
So I wanted to go down and kill two birds and see him, but it just didn't transpire. But yeah,
Life gets busy.
to be a part of it,
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes you just don't have the words. You just have to just be thankful and grateful that, man, you know, you've just been part of a team that's part of Southend's history, and 30 odd years later, you know, I remember when Southend with Freddie Eastwood and them, man, they were beating Man United.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you know, it's not that Southend haven't had other magical moments, but our team comes up a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our
It
team
does.
comes up a lot. And for me, those are the moments where I don't have words. All I can just say is thank God that, man, I was part of that group and part of the history. And yeah, you're just grateful. So to be a part of that kit launch, you know, they could have. There's hundreds of other players they could have called.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Ricky, you've given us so many magic memories.
Yeah. You
So
really
many
have.
incredible memories. Even
Thank you.
in that short spell with us, you know, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. Absolutely
Thank you.
love your passion, really do. And yeah,
Talk all
listen,
day, eh?
you'll always be remembered as a fan favourite, that's for sure. And
I'm humbled, man.
so Ricky, or say Pastor Ricky, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
No, thank you for
Yeah,
having
really,
me.
really appreciate your time.
Thank you so
Cheers,
much, man.
Ricky.
Appreciate you. Take care, God. Yeah.